Happy Friday to you. I hope you're well. Today I want to talk about something quite deep and personal to me, to my family obviously as well, and that is about the passing of my father. So 2 years ago today, on the 22nd of March 2022, we lost our dad. We lost our father. Mother lost her husband, and it was a fairly significant time in my life, and certainly all those that knew dad in their lives as well. And I'm not the only one to go through loss, obviously, but it sort of made me think about some really important points that I reflected on and I think are very valid personally. However, I think I'm going to share them today because I think they're really important for all of us as well. And on that day, I remember it very vividly. I usually wake up in the morning and go for a morning swim. It was a Tuesday. Wasn't feeling that well. Whatever it is, I made the excuse and I didn't go for my swim. And I was out and about doing my thing. I went to a property inspection. I was coming back through Palmwoods where I live, and I was driving up the road and I thought, oh, you know what? I had the towel and the togs in the back because I thought if I put it there, it might tempt me to go. Even though I didn't feel like it. And anyway, I pulled in last minute. Thought, no, I'll go for this swim. And usually at that time of the day, my father would be swimming as well. And so I walked in, said hi to the crew, and that's when I saw Dad. He was in the pool, lying face down in the water. Half of his body was sort of out on the edge. The other half was in the water, and I dropped my things, ran over, tried to pull him out, and that's when the staff came over, assisted me. We got him out of the water. We did, the team there were great. We tried to resuscitate him. That was Dad's time. That was his end. And, you know, fortunately, in many great ways, he ended it quickly without too much pain and suffering. And I think that's a blessing. You know, he would have rathered it that way than having us, you know, push him around in a wheelchair and wiping his bum. Certainly, that's the way he would have liked it. So, look, it was a fairly significant loss for me. And I think we all deal with grief and loss very differently, very personally. I'm a worker. And for me, to occupy my mind and to, I guess, take me away to escape that loss, I worked. I did anything I could to distract my mind. And was that the right thing or not? I don't know. I actually had my most successful year that year in my career because I just kept working, but I didn't give the time to really grieve and go through the process of loss. And that's okay. That's how I did it and that's how I dealt with it. But it made me reflect on a few points that I'm going to share here. And I'm going to share from the book I wrote as well, The Ultimate Life Map. But the first point I want to talk about there is the idea that nothing is permanent. Everything is in constant flux. Everything changes. And this moment too will pass. And I think that's really important because often we attach ourselves to things, to people, to the external realities of our lives. And when we have this attachment, when they go, which everything will, we feel a deeper sense of pain and loss and suffering. And that's because of our attachment to that. So I think it's an important thing to reflect on and understand that it's okay to love. It's okay to, you know, want to be attached to things. But when those things are not in our control and they go, and they will, understand that that's just how life is. And I think if you can understand that and reflect on that and be okay with this detachment to the externals of our lives, we will be better able to live a happy existence. Yes, you can still grieve when you have loss. Yes, you can still be upset when things change or things are different. But understand that's the way it's going to be. And once you understand that and can accept that, and you will be more prepared because you know that things like that will come. And that's a great way to live a content life. So one important point there that I wanted to touch on. A couple of other points, and I wrote about this in my book, The Ultimate Life Map, which I've got a copy here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it that well. I've written out this diagram here, which you may be able to see there. I'll hold it up for a little bit. And there's one word here. So these elements here, 3 elements, health, growth, and love, they're essential to our overall happiness in life. And the word love I use openly. It's to just live with love, to live with connection. And I think about this word at this time in the anniversary of my father's passing. Connection is fundamental, and we're traversing through a great period of change, I believe, in the universe right now. And individually and collectively, if we don't try and find ways to connect and love, we will individually and collectively not have this deeper sense of happiness and contentment that there is in the world. I really believe that. And for me, in that period of loss, and this is why I bring it up, is because you start to appreciate how important love and connection with your friends, your family, your mates, the people in your life really is. You really start to appreciate it. And maybe that's an age thing. I'm 42 now, so maybe you start to appreciate that more and more. But I think as you age too, you do experience loss in a deeper way. And that wakens you up to the importance of life. And I think in this day and age, where there's a lot of different radical ideas and opinions and this divide of people, it's stopping us from really connecting as human nature, which is essential to our being, is this ability to love. And I think that's really, really important. This ability to connect. Look at the digital age that we live in. We're disconnecting more and more, and it's causing havoc, particularly in the younger people. I feel for. So I think it's a really good reminder for me anyway. And I know, we've all got our own lives and we're busy people and all that sort of thing. But just a reminder to really make time to connect with people, to jump on the phone, to have a conversation, to get face to face, to do whatever it is to socialize and network and be bonded and belonging to a human collective. I think that's really important for our happiness. The second thing I talk about here, you probably can't quite see it there, contribution or service really came to my mind when I was thinking about Dad's passing this week. One of these, and I call it an enhancing element of our happiness. So there's the fundamental and there's the enhancing, and contribution is one of the things you don't have to do to be happy. But if you can find ways to be in service to others, to be in service to yourself, you will find a deeper sense of happiness. And that's just by giving back. And I think that's one thing I reflected on, how important it is for us to share. It's also connected to love. All these elements intertwine with each other. But sharing, giving back, helping others, just doing more beyond the self is really an uplifting element to our lives. And if we can do more of that, be of service to others, have a greater impact, give, be loving, we're going to live with greater level of happiness. And this level of happiness that I talk about will help us through periods when change does happen, when loss does happen. I think it's really important. And I look back now at Dad's life too, and I can tell you now, for those who know my dad, we'd probably agree, he did love. He loved his family, he loved his wife, he loved his boys, loved his mates. There wasn't a time really that you'd see Dad, even at distances, not speaking in depth to his friends. There's a lot of that, with Dad. He did love in his own way. We all love in our own way, but he certainly did that. And I think that gave him a great sense of purpose and meaning, and certainly happiness in life as well. And the other one was contribution. He had a generous heart and always went above and beyond to do things for his community, for the people he loved. He was the president of the PNC for a while. He used to run these awesome fetes for the school. I just always remember that as a little kid growing up, that Dad would be involved with that. Always generous with his money and his time. He'd give it whenever he could. He did work hard as well, but certainly was a very kind man, and certainly a man of service to others. And I think that helped him live with happiness as well. So guys, that's my reflection today. Long-winded, RIP Dad, miss you heaps. And guys, I hope this leaves you with some thoughts today about how you can love and connect and be of service more in your life. Have a great Friday ahead. We'll talk soon.